I'm recording this audio after recording the video because I don't have a script and I don't wanna write a script, so I'm just gonna improvise. So I'm using Morena because it's where I found out about the script, the Sieve, the scripted language to email filtering. And first thing that I show is the one-line or multi-line comments. There is nothing special. If you already wrote in C, you know multi-line, and the one-line remembers Python. The first command that I think everyone needs to know is keep. Keep is a command that will send your mailbox. You send to your mailbox your email. You don't need to call every time because it is implicitly called unless other action cancel it. So just call if you really want to send to main mailbox. Well, have said that, the file into is the one of the most important comments because we'll send your email to a specific mailbox. This command is an extension, so you need to add require, so the command will be extended. And I'm going to show a simple example, nothing too much. I'm gonna send it from one email to this email, and I must receive at any moment. It will be redirected to best folder because I just wrote file into best. I will be sending all emails to the best folder, nothing special. One of the common types of Sieve programming language is string. Is the argument from the required and same argument from file into. Here is another type, is string list. Is nothing special. Is a list of strings. And you can see that you can extend many extensions with one required. You don't need to extend one by one. Discard is going to discard your mail. It's not going to send it to trash can. You delete without questions. Redirect. I can't show you the example, but you send your email to another email. The argument that it receives is another email. The first command that deals with control flow is if. It's the most important command because you can check a test and decide if you want to do some action with it or not. In this case, the test is true. True is a basic test that will always evaluate to true. True is true, and you don't need to do nothing more to go inside the block commands from if. You can put as many commands you want inside the block. There is no limit, but depends from provider what you do. Else is a command. That is go together with if. Else if is also a command that go together with if. Else is when no condition from any if above is true. And else if it's another if, basically, that you will only try, you only test if the upper if didn't success. Stop, you will stop your code or the script, and you will return whatever have to return. I mean, not that you return something, but you will stop your code, and if you ever file into some folder or discard, you will do this action. If you didn't do any action of this type, it was just use the implicit keep. The first test command is true and false. It's very simple. They just evaluate for true or false. The second if will never happen, and the first will always happen. Nothing to see here. I use the true and false for most of the examples because it's just easy to understand. Size is another test command that checks the email size, and you can see that it comes with two arguments. The first is a tagged argument, and the second is a position argument. That is a number. The number is another type from Sieve, and the important part is the tagged argument. The target argument must be one of over or under. It's the test command accepts both over or under tagged arguments to decide what to measure the file size. One thing that is important is numbers in Sieve accept letters after 3 letters. And these letters is basically to specify kilobytes, megabytes, or gigabytes. It's just an easier way to check the size of big files. Nothing special. All of is a test command that take many tests and try to check if all tests are true. If one test is false, you will not evaluate to true. It will be in this case it's going to be false because there is one false. If you change to true something that can be true, it will be evaluated true. In this case, I'm just testing with another test. You can insert many tests inside all of because it receives many tests. And another command that is close to all of is any of. Any of will evaluate to true if one of many commands is true in many tests. In this case, it will be true because the last test is true. If you put 3 false, it will never be true, and you will never enter the block command. Exists is a test command that checks if a header exists in the email. For example, from. If the header from exists, you evaluate to true. You can check copy, if it was copied to someone, if it has subject, and every header that the email contains. And this command accepts a string list. This will make it check if you have every single header that you mention in string list. And header is it's a command, a test command that will check the header, the text in the header. In this case, you can see that I'm checking if the header from is bob example.org. It's received the tagged argument is and 2 positional arguments that are strings from and bob example. The tagged argument can be contains, that you check if the string is contained in the header. In this case, you match any string that have bob. Doesn't matter the domain. And another tagged argument that header accepts is matches. Matches make a little of regex match, but you have to think this like a regex that only accept question mark and asterisk. For example, if I want to match example.com as example.org, I could use question mark to means any character and asterisk to means any quantity of this character. It's better you study a little about regex than trying to understand what I just said. But let's see. One thing that I forgot to mention is string list. You header accepts string list as argument. This will make a match. Will try to match any of the emails. In other words, if header have Bob at example.org or Alice at example.org, will match. It will evaluate to true. And the first position argument can also be a string list. This means that it will try to match any combinations. You try to check if it's from Bob or Alice, or is to Bob or Alice. The next text command is for testing address or emails. It will test if you try to pick the email from that field, if the field is a email field, address field is the correct term, and you do the test that you specify. In the first example, I use the tag element all. This it's same as saying if all the strings all the address is equal to Bob at example.org. It's the both ifs does exactly the same thing. I'm just showing that this would be exactly the same. I mean, not exactly the same, because from can have the name of the person that sent the email and it wouldn't match. But I'm changing the first tagged argument to local part. That means just everything before the at, and the second if is everything after at. You can see that first I'm gonna check if email its address starts with Bob, and the second I check if the domain is example.org. The second tagged argument can use contains and matches like we saw in header, nothing expansion. I need to warn you that you can also use the string list here. It's just best way to check if it's from many places. You don't have to make many ifs.